What's going on, everybody? Tonka here. I know it's been forever since my last vid, and this channel has basically been dead since well, for months now, really. I have a really shitty excuse. I don't have any ideas or any motivation on what I want to do. Feels bad, man. And honestly, it's a really strange feeling. I find myself sitting around after work and I'll just browse Reddit, or I'll start scrolling around on Twitter, or I'll just start watching Twitch or Netflix or something. I can't get myself motivated to play any games, let alone create content for this channel. I don't know what's up with me. Maybe I'm just burnt out and I'm just, schlubbing around. I do miss making content. I miss it. I mean, I don't have a ton of time, but I have enough time to make a couple of vids and to play some games at night, but I just don't. And I posted something like that on Twitter, and some other folks said that they have the same kind of an issue. The motivation to stream is just not there, even though we all really enjoy doing it. And you know what? There are no excuses. It is easier than ever to become a Twitch affiliate and get yourself some dank-ass emotes in there, but I just can't push myself to hit that start streaming button on OBS. And you know what? It's kind of sad. I found myself becoming a little envious of the dozens and dozens of other content creators out there that actually push content out. I suppose I'm just jealous that they have fire. They have the fire to create content. And I just don't right now. It's a pretty bad feeling, to be perfectly honest. And I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there that's going to say I'm depressed or something like that. But this has honestly been an issue I've dealt with since as long as I can remember, probably all the way back to my teens. I would start a game, play it for a few hours, and then I would either go back to a game I was already playing, or I would just do nothing at all. And back in my early teens, SOCOM and SOCOM 2 on the PlayStation 2, which you can see right here, that was my console. That was my jam. That was what I would always go back to. I would buy a brand new game, and I mean, you can even see I've got a handful of games there, PlayStation 2 games. I'd buy them, I'd play them for a little while, and then I'd just go back and play SOCOM again. Later on, that turned into Final Fantasy 11. After that, it turned into World of Warcraft, and then for a little while, it became League. Of course, there was Terra, but I would always end up going back to one of those games. What I would do is I would go out and I'd buy a game like Grand Theft Auto, which I really like, or Metal Gear Solid or Wild Arms, and I would play those games for like 1 to 2 hours at a time, and then I would just feel myself dragging, and I would just get bored and go back to SOCOM or go back to Final Fantasy 11. And for some reason, that's just kind of always been the way that I've gamed. And going back to the whole envious thing, one of the people I was actually quite envious of when I was growing up was my cousin. He and I have always been really close. He lived about 20 minutes from my house. He's a year and a half younger than I am, and we just have a ton of stuff in common. So when I was growing up, I lived pretty close to my grandparents, and during the summer or on the weekends and stuff, my cousin would come over and hang out with me and then go see my grandparents. And when my cousin would come over, he and I would do normal stuff. We'd go play basketball outside, or we go throw pine cones at each other or whatever. But one of the things we'd do a lot was play video games. So when he would come over, he wouldn't really bring any consoles. He would just play the ones that we had. And so when we were growing up, really, it was like the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and then I had a PC. We would play a lot of games together. One of the games I remember playing the most was like Time Splitters 2. Absolutely loved that game. If you haven't played that game before, I'm sure you wouldn't have as much fun now as you would have when it first came out. But for those of you guys who remember Time Splitters 2, man, that game was like one of the best games I've ever played. But anyways, he'd be over and I'd feel like playing a game that was more of a single player type thing, like SOCOM 2, or I'd want to play Final Fantasy 11, and then later on World of Warcraft. When I eventually got into that. And then he would just play whatever else was around. I was playing Final Fantasy 11, he would end up playing Halo or something like that. He would just play the campaign again and again, beating it on harder difficulties every time. And if I had grabbed a new game, or I had rented something for the weekend, like Jak and Daxter or something, and I had already beaten it, he would just pick it up and play it non-stop until it was time to get food. He was just cool playing pretty much whatever. I was actually kind of envious of that because I wanted to be like that. I still want to be like that. I want to just play the games that I have. I have a good amount of games now. You can see some of them back here. A lot of these games I haven't beat. And a lot of games in my Steam library I've only put a few hours into. So this issue has been plaguing me for like 15 years. I hate it. And it affects my ability to make YouTube videos too, because I'm not motivated. It's not like I don't want to. I love making YouTube videos and I love playing new games. There's something just holding me back. And so most of the games that I get and most of the videos that I end up starting, they get half made and then I just kind of put them on the shelf. There's just something going on. There's just some mental block, and I don't know what it is. And so I only have a little bit of free time every night, and I have some free time on the weekend. And instead of just mucking around on the internet or watching Twitch or watching YouTube videos, I'd like to actually play some video games. I'd like to spend that free time that I put aside for gaming on gaming, but apparently that's pretty hard for me unless I'm one-track minded. Now what I mean by that is, as long as I have one game that I'm just focusing on, I have no problem coming home, getting some free time, launching the game and just playing. And over the past 20 years, there have been probably a dozen or so, maybe more than that, games that I've been one-track minded on. SOCOM 1 and 2, Diablo 3, sports games. I know. I should take away my gamer tag. It has a different meaning now. I should take away my gamer hat. But yeah, I actually really like playing sports games like MLB The Show and NBA 2K. Something about them. Love them. Red Dead Redemption, Suikoden 3, Final Fantasy 7, 9, and 10. I wasn't a big fan of 8. And then a lot of city builder games. City Skyline, Banished, Tropico. Love those games. I always put tons of time into those, and I always end up going back to them. League of Legends for a while, Final Fantasy 11, RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Terra, Age of Conan, Warhammer, Black Desert, etc. You get the idea. I like focusing on one kind of game at the same time, and MMOs are kind of perfect for that. But really, when I think about it, that's it. Those are games that I've put like more than 20 or 30 hours into. Now, I have beaten a good amount of games, but a lot of them I beat just out of sheer force of will. I try to force myself to beat the game for a reason other than the fact that I just want to beat a game. I try and add in another element of gaming to the games. And one of the ones that I try to do is YouTube content, and then I have the problem of I don't want to spend the time making the YouTube video. It's just a big old cycle, man. But what always happens is I get this tug to go back to these comfy games. These games that I've spent a ton of time into already. League of Legends or World of Warcraft, for example. And I don't even know anyone that still plays World of Warcraft. And I know like one person who still plays League. I'd be by myself playing those games, but I still keep drifting closer and closer to playing them. And honestly, I know I wouldn't be entirely happy playing those games. I just can't get focused on other games. And the more I get older, the more I realize that gaming has been more of a community or even a spectator sport to me than just a pure hobby for playing games. I'm more involved in the culture of gaming now than gaming itself. It's not really by choice, though. It's just by lack of motivation. I look at a game in my Steam library, a game like Sleeping Dogs, for example, and I think, you know what? That game looks really fun. I should give it a try. It looks kind of like Grand Theft Auto. I like those kind of games. I should play it. So I did. I had the opportunity to spend a small chunk of time on just playing video games and nothing else. And I picked Sleeping Dogs for a game I wanted to beat. And I beat it over 2 days. It took me about 14 hours. But you know what? After the first day, I already found myself kind of wanting to stop. I started thinking to myself, I could just play some other game tomorrow. And I'll come back to Sleeping Dogs eventually. If I made that compromise with myself and I tried to play a different game, I probably would never go back to Sleeping Dogs. There would be a barrier in there for me too. Like, why would I go back to a game half finished? I'm not going to remember the controls. I'm not going to remember the story. So I told myself, no, you're going to beat Sleeping Dogs. I focused on beating Sleeping Dogs, and I did. And I still found myself going AFK for hours. I'd get myself lunch, and then after lunch, I'd be like, I'll just pop on some Netflix and watch some Netflix for an hour, and then maybe I should just take a little break and go outside for a little bit. So anyways, I just have a hard time really putting the time investment into a game. And for a long time, I'd convince myself that it was something else. I'd say, if I had a nice keyboard, I had a nice mechanical gaming keyboard, maybe that would just make me feel a little more motivated, so I'm not playing on some, crappy cheap keyboard. Or you think to yourself, you know what? I would enjoy these games so much more if I could play them on Ultra at 1440p with 60 frames per second. So you upgrade your PC. Or maybe I should focus on obscure achievements. That would make me want to play. Or I should start a franchise of games in order, like BioShock or Mass Effect. I should start the first one, and then it will make me want to just continue and carry into the last games. But nothing ever works. I always find my way back to my comfy picks. I always end up launching City Skyline or Banished or League of Legends or World of Warcraft. You see that? That Best Buy $49.99. The game was $49.99 when I bought it. It's good times, man. And you know what'll happen? I'll start playing one of those games. I'll put a few hours into it. I'll likely enjoy myself. And then I'll think, what am I doing? I'm just wasting my time. Why am I spending what little free time I actually do get to spend on games I've already played? I should spend that time on new experiences, on new games. And then the cycle just continues. Spend a few hours playing a new game, then I get tired of it. Then I waste my time doing absolutely nothing or thinking about what game I should play next. And then I end up falling back on my comfy picks. I play my comfy picks for a little while, and then I feel like I should be spending my time better by playing a newer experience or a newer game, or playing one of the games in my Steam library that I've had for years and haven't even installed. And the cycle just continues to go. Now, I know not everybody has this problem, and I may be the only one. But if you do have the problem, let me know down in the comments. Make me feel like I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one. What's your comfy pick? Let me know down in the comments. Help Tonka feel better. Tonka's sad, bros. Tonka's not motivated. This is a pretty meta video, though, because I made a video about how it's hard for me to get focused and motivated on making content. Hopefully I can make more, because I really do miss it. Until next time, guys. I love you all. Tonka out. I know it's a really bad salute. I need to find another thing to do that's not saluting, because my salute is not like, it's just, you know, just like this. I know this is after the video and I already did my outro, but I got stuff to try and convince myself to make better YouTube videos. I mean, this isn't the best camera setup in the entire world, and I know there's people with much better ones, but, you know, I bought a new webcam so that I can make these videos, and they're not, you know, expensive or like super high quality and stuff, but they give good light, you know, they make my beard look red. I bought these, you know, umbrella lights to light my face up better for the video, so, you know, just to, again, to motivate myself. To make these videos, and I just, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's all sad. I'm gonna start playing WoW again. God damn it.